sorry. This is supposed to be scary. What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Trav, back with another video. This one's being done at night because, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, this one is a scary animation upload. But before we get into that, make sure y'all like, comment. If you're new here, make sure you sub so you can become one of the world's greatest travesties just like me. And yeah, hit that bell so you get a notification anytime I upload videos like this one. Okay, so I have 3 picked out. The first 2 are going to be from Wansi Entertainment, and then the last one is going to be from Snarled, aka Something Scary. I suggest you go look at both of them because they're both really good. I love both of them. I actually watch scary animations a lot. This is my thing. I'm excited about this video because this is my area of expertise. I'm not gonna take too long because these videos are a little lengthy. So ready to get right into it. First one.
I'm 20 years old and I suffer from insomnia. I also have sleep terrors, so normally nightmares come regular to me. But this one nightmare kept me up for over a day. I went to bed early because I had to pick up a package in the morning, and I'm scared of the dark, so I leave the bathroom light on at the end of the hall. I also sleep in a single bed on the opposite side of my headboard. Don't ask me why, I just never really liked them.
Not gonna hold y'all. I do too.
But one night, I finally decided to sleep on the top end of the bed, and to this day, I never did it again. I fell asleep and my room flashed red, and I jolted awake, and then I fell back asleep shortly after. Now this was the first lucid dream I had had, and it felt like a new dream, but it wasn't. It was a nightmare. I rolled over and my foot was hanging off the bed, and at the end of my bed was a dark figure. That figure was wearing a trench coat, and it looked like it was wearing a cowboy hat or a fedora. And he said something that I could remember so clearly, because I remember moving my mouth, but
I'm sorry, I gotta say it. Why he look like that one meme? Edit Trav. Cue the meme. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be scary. My bad. Back to what we were doing.
Couldn't speak. The figure's mouth got extra wide and started pulling me in. He had large gnashing teeth, and I slowly felt like I was getting pulled in by my arm. And by the time my arm was fully devoured, normally people say when you die you wake up, but I didn't. I went through this loop of dying and getting pulled off my bed and shredded multiple times. I could feel the agonizing pain more and more, going through these loops. A doctor just continued to sit down with me, so I worked up enough strength to hold on to the other side of my bed, and the clocks that time said it was 4:30, and I went to bed at 1, so that means I must have died in my dreams at least 8 to 9 times, and I finally managed to end it by holding onto my bed and pulling myself and rolling over again, because it pulled the mattress on top of me and I flipped it over with me when I finally survived a loop. It must have been 5:30, and then I finally woke up, and the thing that scares me to this day is that I was on the floor and it was 5:30, and when I looked up to my right, I could see the dark figure, but it wasn't sitting. I bet it was standing next to the cupboard door. I was so scared and tired, then I immediately climbed on my bed quietly and just went back to sleep.
You saw a dark figure in your room and you went back to sleep? Oh no. Oh no. That dark figure owns the house. The deed is in dark figure's name.
Thought maybe it might have been a jacket because my jacket for work was black, and I hung it up on my door. When I woke up, there was nothing there, and to this day, I always separate my nightmares and night terrors based on that dream.
Oh no. Oh no. I moved. Cause no. This next one is from Wansi as well. It's a little bit longer. The title is My Dad Dated a Ghost for 2 years. 2. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Her brother dated a ghost for 2 years. He still doesn't know this. Rather, he is still in denial of the fact that he dated a ghost. He went to see a Buddhist monk and a shaman, was exorcised and went to a mental hospital. It took him 2 years to get the ghost off of him with all that happening. He could finally break up with her after that, but he couldn't accept the breakup and hurt himself out of rage, resulting in his admission to a psychiatric ward. He is still looking for her, but she can never come back, as she was sent to another world. The memory goes back 2 years ago. My brother was an ordinary man and he was popular among women with his good looks. He had good grades at school and was athletic and sociable. He was a good guy that anyone would like, until that incident happened. My brother had an ordinary life, dating girls of his age like others, but all that changed one day. Our family went through a huge crisis due to our dad's business failing. We moved to another house after packing everything up. The new home was very spacious and seemed too great for its low price. There was one odd thing. The day before my dad signed the contract for the house, my dad's mom, that is my grandmother, had a dream, a terrifying dream. In the dream, Grandma followed us when we were entering the house. And once she entered, all of the family was weeping and staring at her. The scene was very spooky to her, so Grandma called Dad right away. But we didn't have another choice as there was no house available at a lower price than this, so we decided to move into the house. We thought nothing terrible could happen and considered Grandma's dream just a silly dream. That was when it started. After a week since we moved in, my brother began to act weird. He started to talk to himself in his room. I first thought he was on the phone with his new girlfriend. He was talking in such a sweet and soft voice, just like talking to a girlfriend. Every time I ran into him in the living room, he looked delighted with cheeks flushed with joy. I thought to myself, he must have started dating. Good for him. But one day...
Not y'all just racking it up to this man a little flustered in the heart. No, this man got a sixth sense.
That shocking thing happened. I went into my brother's room to ask him to go exercise with me. He was talking to someone in a gentle voice, but wasn't on the phone. He was talking with his hands posed as if he was hugging an invisible person. I was so shocked and shouted to ask what was he doing. He replied, "Oh, you've never met my girlfriend before. Say hi. This is Mia." I told him to stop messing around. To my surprise, his hands were posed as if he was really hugging someone, and his natural pose really made...
I'm sorry, but imagine you walk into somebody's room and they just come closer, shawty. Like, what? There's no way you thought he was gonna think that was normal. There's no way. You thought he was gonna support that? Nah.
He feel like there was someone there, and there were his nonchalant face and tone. My brother continued, "Why are you ignoring Mia? Aren't you going to say hello back?" I really felt like someone else than my brother was staring at me, and even though it didn't make any sense, it felt so real that I almost thought I was the weird one. Confused, I ended up running out of the room. I thought I should let my parents know of this incident as soon as possible, and I did tell them everything. They didn't believe me at first, but they also witnessed the scene not too long after. They were also shocked by my brother's actions. Dad lost his temper and yelled at my brother at first, but my brother wouldn't listen. My mom tried to persuade him and tried to talk to him, but communication itself was impossible. My brother was already out of his mind. After that, we have invited shamans, monks, and priests known for their powers, but all of them would just say that my brother is possessed and none of their exorcism would work. We went to several mental hospitals and psychiatric...
The crazy part is, I know for a fact they paid all of them too. They paid all of them just to say, she's too strong. Now, Big Pimpin', you know you didn't even try.
To no avail. Strangely, my brother lost weight day by day. 3 months later, he was only left with bones like a corpse. But he still had a happy look on his face. He would always say with an empty gaze, "I'm happy, so happy." Made me feel like I'd go crazy. He kissed and hugged the empty air. I witnessed that craziness with my own eyes. During that time, my brother lost more than 30 pounds of weight. I thought my brother would end up dying like this. My mom became ill in bed from the shock. It felt like the entire family would be falling apart at this rate. Finally, Dad suggested that we move to a different house. We decided to move into a tiny house. We couldn't help it because we didn't have money. The new house was so tiny that our family wouldn't have any personal space, but it was more important to save my brother's life.
Who? What's more important for who? Nah, Big Pimpin', he can go ahead and stay with Ghost Shawty and I can have my space. Cause y'all not finna have me cooped up in a box. With the rest of y'all? Oh no.
So we ended up moving to a new house as soon as we could. Then my brother started to lose his mind. "Where's Mia? Mia's gone." In his madness, he started to throw everything around him. He destroyed the entire house. He stopped eating and the situation grew worse. One fortunate thing was that he isn't dating a ghost anymore. It seemed like he was slowly coming to his senses. But the thing is, he was suffering even more from love sickness. In the end, we forced him into a psychiatric ward. My brother finally started to calm down with medical help, and our family found peace again. My brother still doesn't know or understand that he dated a ghost. He still asks me if I heard from Mia. I tell him no every time. How can a ghost reach out to me? But to this day, I sometimes hear a knocking sound in the middle of the night. I would wake up by the sound, terrified. Of course, there was no one there, but I think it might be Mia looking for my brother.
Okay, so don't fight me on this one, cause I know how you girls and guys like to tussle. I feel like they kind of rained on his parade. If the situation got worse after you pulled him away, and he was in his mind, he was doing just fine. Cause he was crazy, just cause he looked crazy to y'all, don't mean he was unhappy. He said he was happy, and then y'all took him away from the situation, and he got worse. And the only way he got better, y'all drugged him up. It sounds like the real criminal is the parents, not the ghost. He could have just been chilling. Sure, he'd look weird to the outside public, but Mans was happy. Me personally, I'm not finna mess with nobody's happiness. But that's just me. The last one comes from Snarled, aka Something Scary. You should check them out too. I definitely love them. It's a new lady, but if you go on there, there are multiple different ones. My favorite is Markia. She does them so good. But yeah, so dive right on in.
Tiffany Strange. Want to hear something scary? Night terror. Sometimes our most terrifying fears follow us through the night. And sometimes those nightmares will be the very death of us and those we love. I nestled under the blanket, staring blankly at the glowing screen of my phone as I scrolled. It was 2 a.m. and sleep had evaded me yet again. My parents kept telling me to just close my eyes and slow my breathing. Unusual things can happen if you don't rest. But having just moved into a new house, I was having trouble falling asleep, and when I did, it wasn't pretty. 6 months had passed, and I was still waking up shaking and trembling. My pillow damp with tears, sheets drenched in sweat. It was because of him, a tall, skeletal man who stalked my nightmares. He had this crooked smile and eyes
Look at that face. I'd wake up drenched in sweat too. I ain't even mad at you, sis. Look at that. It's a no. Oh no, it's a no.
Glowing with the promise of death. And just as I was about to finally doze off, I heard the slashing of a knife coming from my parents' bedroom. I'm probably dreaming, I tried to reassure myself, attempting not to fidget. Just stay sleeping, I told myself. But the sounds continued, again and again and again, and I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to sit up and I couldn't move. Panic set in. In my typical night terrors, I'd be stuck, unable to move, and in full-on sleep paralysis. Only the fantastical setting letting me know I was dreaming. I had never experienced anything so realistic, so plausible. I didn't know if it was having a new level of a nightmare or if it was real. I was about to slide out of bed when I heard the creaks of the wooden flooring from the hallway. Oh my God, this is happening, I thought. I jumped back under the covers and laid still, pretending to be asleep. I could hear a knife scraping a deep scratch along the wall as it slowly drew closer. It took all my willpower to keep my breathing steady, and I could hear snippets of heavy panting and high-pitched giggles. Each horrific sound enveloped me in a cold sweat beneath the covers, listening, waiting. The scrape.
Me personally, I'm jumping out the window. But that's just me.
Stopped outside the door, and after a minute or two of silence, I chanced a glimpse of the darkened room. Peeking out from the bedclothes, I could see the outline of a thin man standing just inside my room. A dagger in his left hand, dripping liquid onto the carpet. A scream crept up my throat, but I somehow managed to suppress it. The man approached the bed thinking I was asleep. I could barely see, but I heard the whoosh of a fast-moving dagger whip across the air, and despite my fear, instinct took over. I grabbed a pillow, holding it above my head, and the blade went straight through the middle. I cried as it pierced my palm. As he ripped the dagger out, we both screamed. It sounded as though my cry was coming from his mouth. White-hot pain surged and pulsed through the ragged hole in my hand. I clutched my bloody wrist as he stood there, grinning. His eyes glowed like a cat's in the darkness. It wasn't until he lifted the dagger above his head once more that I jumped out and barely missed it. I reached for the lamp by my bedside table and swung as hard as I could. Somehow,
Yes, ma'am.
it connected
Yes,
with
ma'am.
his head. He yelped in surprise and pain, and I scrambled out, slamming the door behind me.
There you
I
go.
could hear footsteps
There you go.
behind me as I ran downstairs and into the kitchen. In the cast of moonlight, I caught sight of the man. It was him, the skeletal monster from my nightmares. Was this a nightmare? Would I wake up, or did I somehow will him into existence? His features twist with fury and madness. Lips stretched in a terrifying grin. I fell back onto the granite chest, heaving. The inhumane noises filled my ears, drilling into my skull. I rammed my hands against my head, trying to keep the sounds out, and then I snapped out of it. Opened my eyes, and he was gone. I couldn't bear the thought of seeing the carnage left in my parents' room, so I ran out of the house. The cool night wind met my wet cheeks, and I stood bleeding into the street, crying for help, crying to wake up, praying this was just a terrible dream. But it wasn't. My parents are dead, and I'm still in the hospital. Not from my wounded hand, which healed months ago, but because they say it was me, that I'm the one who killed them in my...
Whoa. Whoa. That took it. Whoa. Her? I don't even know what to say.
Sleep. I look at myself in the mirror and I know I couldn't have done it. I know that it was him, and I know that he will never leave me and that he'll be back.
That one, I like, that one was my favorite. That one was my favorite because I wasn't expecting that ending. Like, I applaud you, Snarl. Okay, well, that concludes the video. I enjoyed it. I really did. I try not to speak too much because I want you guys to like watch it. But those were interesting. But anyways, that concludes the video. If you guys have any video suggestions, be sure to drop them in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, turn on the bell, because I'm gonna be posting again in about 2 to 3 days. Y'all have a good one.